All right, you guys. We promised we would make this happen. We promised this interview was going to happen. We talked a little bit about it before. Joining us in person on the podcast is none other than Glen Big Baby Davis.
Yes.
We're pleased to have you here. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a fan. I've watched you guys grown, see the work you guys been doing. My cousin here. And very proud of you, man, representing for Baton Rouge.
Appreciate it. We talk a lot of Baton Rouge on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Look, cuz, man, I'm concerned. You know, word came down that you were, you got 3 years, you have 40 months based upon, you're convicted earlier, alleged scheme to defraud the league's healthcare benefit plan. Me and you had talked about this, and you had told me, now just for people that know, there was NBA players that were involved in an alleged scheme to defraud the insurance benefits plan. There's been some sentences handed down. Terrence Williams, an ex-player, got 10 years. Will Bynum, I think, got 18 months. You got 40 months. There are a lot of people caught up into it. You've also been ordered to pay $80,000 in restitution. So, Mama, my sister, everybody we heard, we were very sad, very concerned. But then when you reached out, you said that you wanted to tell your story. And I think for a lot of people, they would be wondering like what your story is. So I guess my first question would be, what do you feel like is being said about you that's not true? What do you feel about where are people getting it wrong? What is your story?
Well, my story is the fact that I never defrauded the plan. And my intentions were never to defraud the plan. I had an injury in 2015 where the Los Angeles Clippers didn't tell me my ankle was broken. So I took it upon myself as a player, and I took it on myself, and also the education that they gave me on my foot, that the fact that it wasn't broken, so I kept playing. So, and I shot my foot up 3 times to play, and my foot was broken. I didn't know. I would have never shot my foot up if they would have told me it was broken. I would have never tried to play. And so me trying to play, it did more damage to my foot. And I didn't realize that until after the exit meeting. They didn't tell me my foot was broken. I had to find out from my own research and people in Baton Rouge that, hey, your foot's broken. And so now as a free agent, that's different, right? You're by yourself, you're rehabbing by yourself, and at the same time, life is hitting you, right? Going through a divorce. My agent's brother got shot, Daryl Hamilton from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on. And it put me in a big depression where you can see it, where you can see where there's an assault charge, there's a drug charge that I had that went away, because weed is legal now. So it's just like I was going through so much. And when they say you defraud the plan, it's like, it's impossible, because of my background and my injury and what happened. I had a real injury. And so when you're having a real injury, you're coming from a place of like not trying to take, I'm trying to get it's old when I'm old. Like, you know what I mean? So, but the thing about it is that people don't realize the fact that the system is corrupt. There were hundreds of basketball players that wasn't on that list that literally got subpoenaed for the same thing, but you didn't hear nothing about it. They're on ESPN. They're on your favorite podcast. And so imagine if the NBA lets that get out. You know what I mean?
Explain to me what you're saying now.
So meaning that the fact that the Players Association and the owners came up with a collective bargaining agreement, right? The collective bargaining agreement had health insurance in there for the NBA players. So if you wanted to be a part of it, you put your money and the owners matches your money. This money doesn't come from taxpayers. This money comes from us. If the money would disappear, the money would go right back to us. So that's one of the issues also too, because now they're telling us that we have this money for these injuries, right? I just want to get compensated for what I've been through. And so running into the system, everybody like is doing it. Like, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to sit here and rat on my friends and rat on the people that, I didn't want to do that. And so now I'm sitting here doing time for healthcare when I needed it. When I needed it. And when this doctor in Atlanta is a scam and everybody knows this. And so he just basically told on me, right, to get his time cut. He only got 6 months.
I want to go back because you talk about an injury that you had that you didn't know. How did we get here? To the point where, like, in between you having injury, you needing care, and then additional care outside of the injury to the ankle, because it was more than just the ankle, right, that you were receiving care from. So, like, how did we get here? How did this happen to the point? Because you've mentioned a couple of things. You were talking about the doctor in Atlanta, the insurance plan.
So, going back to the collecting the bargain agreement, there's money available, right? And I didn't know when I first got out. A friend of mine that's in this investigation is doing time. He came to me and he asked me, he said, "Hey, are you paying cash for all your injuries?" And I said, "Yeah," right? And so he's educating me about this money that I have with the Players Association and letting me know how much money I got. Being a friend, us basketball players, it's a brotherhood.
Whose responsibility is it to let you know that this was available? Like your agent,
my financial advisor and my business partner, who was not doing that, who also took the stand on me and lied. And so, so basically, the collective bargaining agreement has this money that's available for us. And he came to me saying, "Hey, are you using cash?" And I said, "Yeah." And so, okay, this is what you can do. I can help you, get the money that you deserve. So we go to a doctor's office, right? And I'm thinking like, oh, okay, cool. We're going to a doctor's office and we're getting easy access. We don't have to go, everybody's back here, there's assistant and stuff, but we're just getting the right treatment. I'm not thinking nothing's wrong or I'm doing anything wrong. So we go, we get the examines, and then 2 weeks later, Terrence Williams calls me. And I know Terrence Williams, but I don't know him. This is my first time having a conversation with him. And so he asks me, "Hey, man, why are you not answering the phone? Why are you not answering the phone?" And I'm like, I didn't know you, like, what's up? Like, he was like, "Hey, man, I'm the one that did Allen's and I'm the one that helped this. I represent the Players Association." I'm like, "You're a rep for the Players Association?" He's telling everybody this. And so as we go along, we're having conversation and I feel weird about it. So I get my financial advisor involved. And so I get him involved. He talks to him and then he calls me back and he says, "Hey, review it, sign it, send it back." And for me, I'm thinking that's cool because this guy has done everything for me and for my whole life, from divorce papers, from signing taxes to making sure that everything, my family, like this guy, but 10 years.
What did you sign?
There's a document, right, that he has to fill out with all the things. We have to fill out with all the stuff, right? And so he fills it out. So I'm thinking it's okay, because I'm coming from a place of, hey, he knows my injury, he knows what I've been through, and we need this money. You know what I mean? And so he signs this, and I'm thinking, okay. And as things start to evolve, Terrence starts to be like, "Yo, I need $16,000. And I'm like, "Fuck no. I'm not giving you $16,000 for what? What are you?" And so that's when I started to know and started to feel. So I called Tony Allen, and Tony Allen told me like, "Hey, man, you shouldn't have fucked with this guy. You should fuck with me." And I'm thinking like, in my head, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And so as the plan evolves and stuff happens, right, me and Terrence get into it. And I'm like, "Hey, bro, I'm not about to fucking give you $16,000. This is, you know what I mean, bro? Here go $1,000, right?" Because he needed a loan. He was begging for a loan. Like he needed money. And so I gave that just to say, "Hey, bro, it's over with. Look, hey." So I end up not getting any money, right? Because the plan manager vetoed the plan, right? But I'm still under investigation, right? And so as I thinking to myself, oh, it's over with. Hey, I didn't get no money. Hey, everything's good. There's an investigation going on, right? And as I'm going to rehab, again, I go to another friend doctor that's in Encino who's also in this situation, right? Who also pled, right, to whatever he did. You know what I mean? So that's another corrupt that I don't even know.
Right.
I'm just going to where my peers are going and all my friends are going. And so as that evolves, you know, I'm like, I'm good. You know, I'm like, oh, you know, so I end up calling the lawyers from the plan ends up calling me, which shocks me.
From the NBA's health plan.
From the NBA health plan, they call me and they call me with like 3 or 4 or 5 lawyers on the phone, and they call me, you know, and all I think about is I don't want to snitch.
Right.
I don't want to rat on them. I don't want to be the one that's telling they, you know, they doing something fucked up, because I was so lost in my world, I wasn't paying attention.
Did you know it by then that something was wrong?
I knew something was wrong by then, and I could have went and told, you know, I could have been like, hey, no, these guys are da-da-da. But I didn't want to do that.
Let me ask you something. You say that you had an injury and it was to your ankle. The documents and things that have come out claim that you guys had 6 root canals on the same tooth, that it wasn't for an ankle.
Yeah,
How do you
and so
explain
now that comes to the point of trusting, right? I'm thinking Eggert and doing the right thing, you know what I mean? And he's paying attention, doing the right stuff, but he's not paying attention, doing the right stuff.
So you weren't aware that...
I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that they had this invoice on here or that invoice on there. You know, I never knew. You know, all I was just asking him, hey, man, find out for me, because I don't know. You know what I mean? I know I spent so much money, like, figure it out. And that's what he came back with.
And Edgar's your financial.
And Edgar's my financial person.
So you were getting treatment for what you needed.
I was always getting treatment. I was always getting treatment.
And were you signing paperwork in regards to the additional treatment, like what Van referred to, or I think there was something that said...
Yes, I was doing physical therapy with different types of physicians. I was always in a phase of getting treatment because I had a broke ankle and it never really healed. You know what I mean? So I was always going. I have records of every doctor that I'd ever been to, you know, in situations like that.
I mean, were you signing the paperwork in regards to like the root canal, or that said you got service on one day, but you were really in somewhere else?
It's all on one piece of paper, right? And so if you sign down here on the dotted line, like it's all one. It's not like, oh, multiple pages that I got to sign. It was only one.
You mean when you're reporting to the insurance for your the treatment that you received? Is that what you're saying?
So like all the treatment and stuff is on one piece of paper. So everything, you know, Terrence made up all the invoices. He made up all that stuff. And my financial advisor, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. You know what I mean? Because I'm trusting him. You know, I asked him, like, you know what I mean? I literally asked him, I say, hey, I need you to find out all the things that I can put on here and cannot.
So you didn't read any of the paperwork that you signed?
I didn't, and I never did. I never have. From taxes, I never looked at anything. And that's why I'm here today, to talk about the athletes that are not filling in the gap. Meaning the fact that, like, doing the necessary things, this is why we are going in stink when we are done. You know what I mean? Because the lackadaisy and just the worldly things that come in the midst of what's going on, we got to figure out how do we help these athletes instead of putting them in jail. Like, that's the issue. You know what I mean? And so as this stuff is evolving, the investigation is still going on. So I didn't get no money, but they still wanted to investigate me. So as me, I go to another friend of mine who did I trust, that I know I've seen physicians. He's worked with me, you know, at the Big Three, at every game, this doctor. And I go to him and I say, hey, I told him the situation, what happened with Terrence. And I say, hey, man, I don't want to do anything illegal. I need to be accounted for my injury, though. And I said, what can we do? He said, you can put all the Big Three, because I was there working with you, all the Big Three dates. And that's what we did. And now he turns around, pleads the Fifth, doesn't come to court, and just turns around and say, hey, I brought him to the party, when he's already over here partying.
That he says that you involved him in this scheme.
Yes.
At any point, did you have a conversation with Tony Allen or with Terrence Williams, where they explicitly told you that there was a scheme
No.
to defraud
No.
the NFL, the NBA's
No.
insurance?
Never had a conversation with them.
Do you think that they thought you knew what was going on?
No. They had no idea they literally had no idea. Like they had no idea how clueless I was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as they were just so foreign, because I just literally just let it go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I questioned Eggert, you know, he was like, everything's fine. And so I just let it without even just checking, you know what I mean? I just let everything go, you know? So, but at the same time, my intentions was never to steal from the plan because I have an injury, you know, and I've been working hard, you know? Like, I was trying to get back for the big three. So, like, all those hours, that's what I was accounting for.
What year is this that this is taking place?
2017, 2018, 19.
2018, 19.
Yeah, when I was in the big three.
And you were made aware that you were being indicted when?
I made aware when I was being indicted. It was somewhere around like 20.
Mm-hmm. I watched a Vlad interview with you when you were talking to him, and you seemed pretty confident. You said take it to trial. You did not think that you were going to be found guilty and sentenced to jail about this.
No, I figured that
Did you take the whole thing seriously, Glenn?
Yes, I took it seriously.
Sometimes it doesn't seem like it.
I did. I took it seriously. You know what I mean? I really did. I just figured that the FBI would do better job. Like, I thought they were going to do a better job and find, you know, what's going on. Instead of me getting on the stand and telling, you know, and I thought I was going to get on the stand and talk, but they didn't let me. You know what I mean? I thought that was a big thing on why the difference between, Will and me. You know, he got on the stand, he got a chance to talk, you know, and then also they made it seem like I brought the doctor to the party. So it's like, you're bringing somebody, you know? And so they added more time because of that also, too.
You didn't testify?
No.
That wasn't a decision you made with...
My lawyer told me not to. When I told her I wanted to, she told me not to.
Let me ask you this. You said that there are over 100 NBA players that have been involved in this or are involved in this. I don't know if you're saying this is still going on or not. Why do you think you were targeted?
When you look at my career and the things that has happened in my career, I think as a basketball player in the NBA, they put you in a category. And I think when the FBI came to call me, to talk to me, to come to me, I think that was my opportunity to say what I wanted to say. So I think it was just more like the FBI, all these guys are doing this. You guys got to give us something. And so they just let at it the ones that they felt were not beneficial to the league. And that's why I'm here.
Do you think they indicted you hoping to flip you?
Flip me?
Flip you and get you to talk. Do you think that they
thought?
thought?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I think they wanted me to, you know, I don't even think that. I just think that this is a high profile case and I'm the biggest guy on here. When you think about it, I'm the biggest one. Nobody knows anybody else really on this case. Like, nobody knows Melvin Heline. Nobody knows, you know, Allen Anderson, you know. I just think the way I went about it, I think gave them more fuel, right? Because you go on Vlad TV, you know, you're having fun. You're going to the Celtics game. You're going to see, you know, Kevin Garnett get retired. They think, you know, that he's in, you know. But I'm just trying to, like, deal with the other shit I got going on, trying to embrace what I've done and the relationships I've been around. So I think I've handled it the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Even after you were sentenced, you were talking about the fact that you were not going to be able to eat hamburgers for 3 years. And I wanted to call you and be like, look, cuz, man, relax. Don't antagonize the government.
Yeah, that was wrong. But at the same time, it's just that, what you want me to do? You want me to go? You want me to go take a crack pipe and go put it to my mouth, or you want me to go start doing meth, or do you use that as a way of just coping? You know what I mean? Because I'm months ago, years ago, I was damn near close. You think about my career and my life and all that shit I was sending you.
Yeah.
That all happened. Divorce, death, arrested for the first time in your life, like arrested again for the second time in your life. A month later, like,
I remember it.
I needed help. I needed somebody to say, hey, what's up? What you doing? What's going on? Cry. It's okay to cry. I know you big baby, but you don't cry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Last time you cried, you was on national TV. That's the last time I ever cried. You know what I mean? So
you said in court that when you lost basketball, you lost yourself. Can you explain that? Because some people could take that as like an admission. Can you explain what you meant when you said that? Because I think that there are other people who might I would imagine there are other people, other players who are maybe feel the same way.
I don't know. He kind of know my history and where I'm from and what I've been through. And basketball was a protector. It shielded me away from the things that I had to endure and see growing up. And when that was taken away and I had to fend for myself and figure out how to deal with life, I didn't know because I didn't have basketball. I didn't know. I used to gauge basketball with everything that I did in my life. And so I had to reroute and figure that out, and it was difficult. And the way it happened, not on my own terms. I was eating myself up, living in the flesh, going crazy, doing things, flying private, just doing things to get away from the divorce, to get away from the bad decisions, and I kept digging myself in a hole, and so I was lost. I didn't have a guide. Everybody has a guide in life. Sometimes people come in your life and or people guide themselves by the Bible, but basketball was my guide. So I just struggled. I was in a dark place, meaning the fact that I was depressed. I couldn't get out of bed, smoking extremely a lot, don't want to work out, don't want to answer the phone. I didn't know I was depressed. And so now when you're in a situation when you're going through so much, you know what I mean? And you're coming from a place of an injury, a real injury, you know what I mean? That's why I'm sitting here now trying to get my point across because walking out in the street and people looking at you and seeing you and damn well, man, this is not me. People, so, I don't even know if, really when I think about it, it's just fucked up, the way the situation is.
You talked about players in the league and what they do in retirement. You made $30 million in the NBA. I know Tony Allen had a successful career as a veteran for a long time, one of the best defensive players. Terrence Williams, not as much, didn't play as long. But a lot of these guys had success. Where's the money? How does something like this, how do people get involved in something like this?
Well, the biggest thing that I see, right, is the fact that there's this big mirage, this big illusion of what NBA players make and what they don't make,
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you see 30 million, but it's really 15, 12, because so much money has to be taken away from you, right? Taxes, you pay taxes in every state, right? You got the agent fees, you got your family fees, you got your fees, and then what happens is you get in the NBA and there's a certain way and stigma and image to live, and you try to keep up. But you can't keep up with Kevin. You can't keep up with Paul. You can't keep up with Rondo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you live with this and you keep going, and now you're building bad habits. You're not doing the right things. And now it's just a snowball effect because you are the leader, right? And nobody's going to really tell you anything. They're just going to be, all right. They're going to watch you. Your financial advisor is going to watch you. Like, hey, you know, he's not gonna be like, hey, you know, stand there and hey, bro, this is what you need to do. Like, they're all with it. You know what I mean? And so there's so many things that you have to endure, you know, so but you got to be ready. And, you know, I wasn't ready. You know, when I got that money, I wasn't ready. You know, I did some things to help me now, you know, to keep me afloat, keep me going. But I could have did way more if I'd have did those things when, you know, when I had millions and millions of dollars, right? And so I think what it is, the Players Association, I think, you know, they have to do a better job of being hands-on. And then I think the other thing is that you have to go to where they are in order to affect anyone. You got to go to where they are. You know, you got to be hands-on with them. And I think that's what we miss because as players, we're up here, you know what I mean? And so when we come down, we're not outside, we're in the house. There has to be somebody to go knock on the door and say, hey, bro, what's going on? You know, and I think that's what we're missing. And I think it's going to keep going and keep going. You know, your favorite players are broke. You see on TV every day. Don't have no money, you know, and I think that's a problem, right? All those players, they didn't, you know, they're losing money. They're not.
How much, how much of that is on them? If I'm asking you, like, I understand everything that you're saying. Where, in your opinion, does the responsibility of the league and their personal responsibility begin? What would you say if someone asked you that?
Well, when I think about, right, how much is on you, right? A lot is on you. You know, a lot of decisions are on you. When I think about how I grew up, the way I grew up,
I know.
You know, my situation's a little bit different.
I get it.
Than your other situation.
Tell them.
Well, you know, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the Eden Park area, Gushung, and it was a tough place.
What's the nickname of that place?
They call it Parktown. You know, it's one of the most deadliest places, you know, you can be in. And my mother was on drugs majority of my life. Until now, you know what I mean? She's been clean. But we went through a crazy path, you know, to the point of, you know, seeing her every day on the streets, you know? But you ain't see her in 2 weeks, but she around the corner in the back, you know? So it's like, I've seen a lot of things, and basketball took me away from it, you know? I'm really an overachiever. You know, that's why I kind of smile a little bit because I came from the fucking dirt like shit, you know? That's why I make a joke, you know, but I hate using that for an excuse, you know? I hate using my past for an excuse, but it has hindered me in ways that has affected me right now. And a lot of these players that are in the NBA are coming from these broken homes. That's the thing. A lot of these players are coming from broken homes or coming from, you know, tough situations where they're not, you know, they're trying to break the cycle, but their past is a part of them. And so that's what happens. I think that's what's going on. A lot of these players are really coming from these urban areas, you know, and they're not having guidance or, you know, people being there and then leaving. You know what I mean? I think that's where that's coming from, you know? So I think there's a point where you have to be accountable, but then at the same time, it's just the fact that if you have an organization like the Players Association that get paid to protect the players, let's protect the players. Let's stop this ongoing cycle of what's going on. Let's educate them on what they have. I didn't know I had pensions and things like that. I didn't find that out till 3 years after, that I can get paid every day. I mean, every month. I didn't know that, you know, because, you know, they let that money just sit because they use it. You know what I mean? Right? If the players go in the CBA, if the owners have a loss of revenue, guess what money they can pull from? the healthcare plan. They can pull money from the healthcare plan if they have a loss of revenue.
Mm.
I'm going to jail? That don't make any sense to me.
How are you right now?
Fucked up. But I'm a dog. You know what I mean? A curbside dog. You know what that is? A curbside dog is, you might see him in the backyard over there. You're going to see him on the curb over here. You're going to see him stealing chickens over here. You're going to see him over here fighting that dog over here. That's just what it is. Yeah, I might got a hurt leg, but I'm outside. I'm okay. I got people that ain't coming home. I got motherfuckers waiting for me in jail. You know what I mean? So it's like my mindset, and it's just the fact that now, like, I just want to be a staple. I want to be a staple for athletes that need mental help, that want help, that need help, that want somebody to sit with them, want somebody to talk with them, a guy like me that they can relate to, not some regular guy that just, and so.
Back to the case for a second. You're saying that a lot of the things that happened, all of the things that happened, you were unaware of.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think in any way you were targeted by Tony Allen or Terrence Williams because they were aware that you were aloof?
I think Allen Anderson and Antoine Wright. Antoine Wright was a guy that testified against me, that said that I knew Terrence Williams before this and I did this with him before. I think those two right there are because they were best friends. They live with each other. And everybody knows this. You know what I mean? Like, they were dogs. And I feel like he went out on the limb for him, because if I rat on Allen Anderson and say he brought me to the party, then that's 3 people bringing him to the party, not 2. And the other 2 were his best friends.
How did the government prove their case? Were there text messages? Were there emails? Were there...
Allen Anderson got on the stand, and he went and visit they say he went and visit the prosecutor probably like 15, 16 times before.
So it was testimony.
Yeah. So testimony is what got me.
And you didn't testify.
And I didn't testify.
I don't want to ask you why, because I don't want to get into a current attorney-client. I don't want you to say something that's like attorney-client privilege if that's a decision that you and your attorney made.
No, that ain't attorney-client privilege. The fucking attorney was, I don't think she truly understood.
Who brought you in?
Allen Anderson.
And did you know him at all before? Because I guess my question is...
I knew him before. I knew he was a friend of mine. He was, I used to call him my friend.
Do you think you're too trusting of people?
Hell yeah. I was just talking to my friends about that. Too trusting. And I think that's my situation.
So I know you joke as a form of just to get by, like Van brought up the hamburgers thing, but truly, are you going to fight this, and what's next for you?
I got to. I got to go to the appeal. I'm going to put the appeal in. I gotta fight, Where I'm from, if I can take it if I've done something wrong. Where I'm from, I could take it and go sit down. And I fucked up, but this ain't me. I didn't fuck up on this. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff being hidden, and I just want to get help to prove my point. To make sure that that a lot of athletes don't fall by the wayside like this.
So, in reading the document, it says that there were not just the root canal, but fake chiropractic treatments that were invoiced, that were created for you, and emailed to Terrence Williams, and they had a service charge of $15,000. You have no knowledge of that. You did not know that. Did you ever see a chiropractor?
Yes, I've seen a chiropractor. And that's what I was trying to leave it up to my financial advisor, because he knows all my finances. He can look at all my bank statements and look and say, he was over here. This is what he did here, like that's where I want to take the blame also too, because my big fat ass should have fucking got up and looked at that shit instead of sitting here smoking weed, doing this, feeling sorry about myself, what I'm going through. That's the only thing that I regret, that I trusted this man and that I should have never trusted him like that. If you're my financial advisor and you're somebody that, I'm not signing that. No matter what the fuck you say or whatever the fuck, like.
Did the financial advisor benefit financially from whatever this scheme was? Did he get paid?
Yes, he would benefit, right? Because he would get paid.
By who?
If I get money in my account, he has money. Because at the same time, like, he could see the money leaving and he was leaving too.
And this is a situation to where and I'm not conjuring anything for anyone, I want you to be able to tell your truth, but I want to make sure we ask all the questions, because are you saying that he was part of the scheme because at that point maybe you weren't generating enough money for him in other places?
No, for example, if I didn't pay him, right? I had to stop paying him, right? But he was still working because I was still having opportunities, places and stuff like that. So he was still working with me, but Edgar knows what's going on. He also has a client that was at the same doctor's office that got the doctor in the Valley took the plea, right? He also knew about that.
I was going to ask you that. Is he the financial advisor for any of the other
yes
that have been
not indicted, but was around, got investigated? But they play, coach on, teams, own big companies, these guys.
So the list of players that are involved in this, just real quick: 18 players charged: Terrence Williams, Allen Anderson. These are guys that people are going to recognize: Anthony Allen, Tony Allen, Shannon Brown, Will Bynum, Melvin Ely, CDR, Christopher Douglas Roberts, Anthony Roten, Milton Palacio, I don't remember him, Sebastian Telfair, Antoine Wright, Darius Miles, Ruben Paris, and Eddie Robinson, Gregory Smith, Ronald Glen Davis, you of course, and Jamario Moon.
These people have been indicted.
These are all the people that were under indictment at first.
And so all those players gave money back to Terrence.
Why?
Terrence basically did everything for them, right? Another player like Will Bynum, Terrence came to him and said, he works for the Players Association too. He told a lot of players that, and then players felt like they had to help him, so they gave him back. Some players didn't give him nothing back, because they knew it was wrong.
So that's what I'm trying to understand. So he came and said, I work for the association. This is what the rights you should have, or you have this pension or this insurance. And then he said, because he said, I informed you of this, then I deserve some money back.
And that's what he was saying.
And you're saying you're the only one. So they didn't trace you giving any money to him.
I gave him $1,000, like a loan. $1,000. I didn't even never get any money. So imagine I didn't get no money from the plan, but my dumb ass, feeling sorry for him, gave him $1,000.
So all you got was treatment.
All I got was treatment.
You never got any money.
The money that I got from the doctor, right? So when I go, this is what happened. This is why I got in this, right? Because I didn't get no money from this, and they kept investigating me, right? So I'm thinking that I'm doing something right. I go to a real doctor. This doctor is real. He's at the Big Three with all the players. He's here with us working out. And I went to him and I told him about the situation over here. And he said, don't worry about this. Everything we're doing is legit. All you have to do is just send me your card. What I'll do, the times that we were at the Big Three, this is what I'll put down here. And that's my understanding of the money that I got.
What do you mean when you say that?
So basically like for the Big Three, right? I was working, everybody was working out, trainers here, trainers everywhere. This trainer was there, right? And so basically, when I came to him from another friend that said, hey, I got a doctor for you, a player that's playing, right? A guy that I didn't want to tell on, you know? And so I get his information from there, and he's like, hey, man, come, right? Because he's been recruiting me this whole time at the Big Three, right? And I'm seeing all these guys. I'm like, this is some legit shit, you know? And so basically what he does is he turns around and said, hey, Glen brings me to the scam. Like, you know, he's telling me like, I created this whole thing for him, which I didn't, because I got my information from my best friend who plays on the team with you that goes to you, right, all the time.
How does that interact with you getting money? That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Okay, so basically for all my work that I did, right, that was cash.
On the
right?
work, what you mean work that you did?
So work, I did treatment from the name of them, like ice and stem. I did all types of...
And you were being paid for treatment?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
You're being paid for treatment?
No, you don't get paid for treatment. You get paid for the stuff that you've already done, right?
Okay.
So the Big Three, right? We go and we work out. We do ankle release. We do stem. We do acupuncture. We do all types of stuff, right? And so now I can account for all that because that's all health injury. It's all getting my foot ready to play, rehab, all that stuff. So that's what he put on there. He's the doctor.
Right. So he puts that on the doctor. Okay, cool. So he puts that on there. What I'm trying to figure out is how does him putting that on there relate to you or somebody else getting money?
Because he's telling me that they're saying that I'm supposed to be in Atlanta, right? He turns around and switch everything, right? And says that, oh, no, Glen was at the Big Three when you told me that to put the Big Three on there.
Right.
Right.
So the doctor does that. Then does he submit that to the NBA?
Yes.
He submits that to the NBA, and then there's a payment based upon, because they're supposed to cover your medical bills. So then they reimburse you for whatever the cost would be for that. Did you receive any of that money?
Yes, $40,000.
$40,000. You received that from the Big Three.
I've received that from the doctor, right? The doctor
said, the doctor
said, hey, I'm going to send you this money. What account you want me to send this money to?
Now, this treatment that you were getting would not have been covered by the Big Three. The Big Three wouldn't have paid for that.
Hell no.
Okay, so you're getting this treatment to get you ready to play. This doctor is telling you that, okay, we're going to do all of these treatments, and then that money is going to come back to you, because if not, you'd have had to pay him for that.
Well, yeah, basically.
Right. Okay. So $40,000 you got, and in this case, the doctor you're saying was a part of the scheme.
He already had a scheme going on.
Was he connected with Terrence Williams? And what was his scheme? It was many different schemes?
But you can look him up. He sexual harassment charges. He literally was doing it.
So how did you find this doctor then, if he wasn't connected to the Terrence?
From my best friend.
Alan?
No.
Oh.
My best friend that I didn't want to tell him.
Oh, got you.
Was the best friend involved in the scheme as well?
The original scheme?
So there were two different things, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to say. There's all types of schemes going on. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The NBA hid a lot of players, right? There was stuff going on everywhere. Me not knowing what's going on, I run into my friend, but they got it going on over here too. There's
several different people defrauding the NBA.
It's so many people doing it. And I literally went to jail, but I have a real injury. I had a real problem. I had a real serious problem.
Okay. And you might not know the answer to this.
What?
You were really received treatment and then got reimbursed for that treatment, is what you're saying?
Yes, okay. I really received treatment and got reimbursed.
The other people that are involved in this scheme, Glen, hold on for a second. I want people to know this, because this is going to be difficult and it's not going to sound right. Man, we from some place where you don't tell. All right? And I know that sounds stupid to a lot of people out there. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people out there. But some of the other things that we're talking about on this podcast that are ingrained, they ingrain that too. It's just difficult to get over it. You know what I mean? So I'm not asking you to breach anything that you grew up by. I'm asking you this. Because in this situation, the comparison of what went on with some other people and what went on with you is going to be key to whether or not people understand and be able to connect with your story. To your knowledge, was there any other players involved in this that got legitimate treatment? Because what you're saying is you got legitimate treatment, and then you are like, okay, because the treatment's legitimate, I had a real injury. The money that's coming back, I don't think is untoward. It's not like I'm saying, hey, I need to go to the chiropractor, or hey, I got to have a root canal, or I got a migraine. You're saying I'm actually getting worked on, so if I get $40,000, I think it's real. To your knowledge, was there any other players that were getting legitimate treatment that were getting actually worked on, that were reimbursed by whatever this insurance plan was?
Yeah, there was other players that were doing it the right way.
And they got caught up, they got swept up in this too?
No, I don't know anything about that, but I know for a fact there was multiple of players that got swept up in this, and they subpoenaed them differently.
But do you see what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, if what people are saying is, hey, all of these injuries were fake and these guys were getting reimbursed for them. If you're saying I had a real injury, I'm saying, to your knowledge, were you the only person that had a real injury, or were there other people that were actually caught up in the case that had real injuries too?
I know for a fact I had a real injury. I don't know about everybody
You
else.
weren't talking to the other people.
You were talking to the other people.
It wasn't a scheme of like a plan.
You were just going to the doctor.
I wasn't talking to Tony Allen. I wasn't talking to Sebastian Telfair. I wasn't talking to fucking, I literally was just on my own. The only person I was relating to was Alan Anderson. And then when Alan brought Terrence in, that's the time I talked to Terrence. That was it.
Since this, have you talked to some of the other players that Van listed on?
Only Will. Will's the only person that, that testified, that not testified, but Will was the only one that went to trial too. I was the only person I talked to. Everybody else, they told or tried to tell or pleaded out or told.
What happens now?
Making sure that I tell my story.
What you want people to know?
I want people to know that Glen Davis is a God-fearing man, and just, I'm not who you guys think I am. What you guys paint or what they painted, the picture, the society, I'm really just a human being going through life. And yes, I do make mistakes, but this is not me.
What do you want the NBA and the NBPA to know? What's your message to them?
The fact that we might not be superstars. I never made an all-star team. Yeah, I made some money, but I never started. I started a little bit, but your stars, right, and the people that do make the league thrive, that's good, but we're still here. We're players that might have not made hundreds of $millions, but we still got to go back to society. We still got to go back to society and try to, fit in. And so what I would say is the fact that, like, don't take none of this for granted, like the players, and show everybody like the same amount of love. If you're gonna show one, show it to all. There's so many players like Delonte West that needs help. There's players that need help. And I think the NBA being $1 billion entity and the Players Association, that's what they get paid for, need to come and check on these players that are building this lead. That we got to stop this stigma of what's going on. I went through divorce, injury, death, and no one was there. No one was there. Christian Chin didn't call me, the Players Association. Ron, they didn't call me, say, hey, Glenn. Even this case happened. They didn't call me.
The Players Association never reached out.
They never called me. They never called me until I went to trial. It wasn't even there to help me make a decision for trial. So it's just like, we have this ongoing problem, and then we're saying we're doing all these things, but we literally just letting these people rot away. These great athletes that are mentally ill from the world that, you know, the NBA brought upon, right? And yeah, it's our fault too, but, you know, like, we already fighting 6 feet deep from where we come from. I've already fought to get out the hole, you know? So it's just like, as the game evolves, get more people that are elevating, that can evolve with the game. Guys like me, right? Or, you know, guys like that have played, that can make a difference and won't sit there so miserable because they making somebody else different. They doing something.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA needs to, you know, use these players to be able to reach out. You know what I mean? And so that's what I want. That's what I want. I want the NBA to notice that, hey, there's a mistake here that we've created, and we got to fix it. And I want to be the first guy, you know, to say I'm going to jail for health and my injuries and the things that I've been through is crazy to me.
And you maintain that you are 100% innocent.
I'm innocent. I had an injury. That's where I was coming from. I never wanted to defraud the plan and get money that's not deserved or doesn't belong to me. That's not it. And so now you run into a system where everything is fucked up and corrupt. And the NBA and the players, they know it. They know it. And now I have to fall in the hole just because. You know, so
you have an appeal.
Have an appeal, starting that process, and I'm just getting my word out, getting my story out, letting people know like where I was coming from and what I meant and everything, you know, because
what's the case on the appeal before we let you go? Like what? So the appeal is when
the appeal. If I can get the appeal in and the appeal heard, I can get it heard, then I can stay out while my appeal process, the trial is going on. So that gives me just more time, right, to be able to have another case and then get it reduced or get it thrown out, you know, depending on the next case, depending on how I win on the next case.
I don't know anything about that, Rachel. Like, how does that work? Like,
appeals are based on like an error that was done in the original trial. So it's not like he gets to redo everything all over again. It's just like if there's certain errors that happen, that's what you appeal on. And if an error is found, then it can either be thrown out or it can be remanded back for another trial.
And so that's what it is with the process now. We filling out the errands, you know, lawyers, situations, you know. So, you know, hopefully, my new lawyer in this process, hopefully we can make some things happen and I can testify.
Okay. And then that happens. What's the when would you have to go away if you were going away? Do you know?
August 2nd.
August 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
How are you preparing for that, if that would happen?
I'm already in it. I'm in it right now. You know? It's already in me. It's nothing I can't accomplish and do.
85% because it's fair time. If you had to go away, you'd be back.
I do a couple drug programs though. Do a drug program, do some other type of programs, have a work release, get in shape, get fine as hell. That's what I say. I'm gonna get fine as hell.
Don't stop playing, bro.
Get fine as hell. That's all I've been thinking about.
Stop playing,
ripped abs.
Stop playing, Glen. Stop playing, bro.
And getting in the gym, getting crazy, ripped up, jailbait.
Yeah. All right, man. We're gonna let you go. Before you go, I want to let you know, man, I love you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you too, man.
I appreciate
I
it,
been
dog.
watching you. I've been
Hey,
Oh shit!
like up, down, or sideways, whatever you need, I'm there for you.
Thank
But
you,
I
man.
also keep it all the way gangster, bro. Like you mean a lot to a lot of people. Let me tell you something real quick. We're not gonna get into the back and forth of what it's like in Baton Rouge. We're gonna leave it where he put it. But for the Brandon Basses and the Glen Davises and the Simone Augustuses and the Tyrus Thomases and all of these people, they mean a lot to us in Baton Rouge because like we know what the situation is. Like we know what it takes to dig yourself out of that. And not everybody shoot up and grow. Not everybody is born 6'8", 6'9". Not everybody got what Brandon, Simone, what you got, and what everyone has. Not everyone gets that. A lot of the people that do have it, they get lost by the wayside too. But as you move through the world, I want you to remember that you matter. That people look at your life and what you've been able to get out of. They look at the Final Four. They look at your NBA career. They look at how all of that stuff and everybody that helped you, Mr. Temple, all of these people, they look at all of that and they're inspired by you. Whether you know that or not, they're inspired by you. You make them kids in the South, in North Baton Rouge, in the Park, in Gardea, in Sherwood, you make them think that they don't have to die. So that's a responsibility by you, man, to comport yourself and to continue in your life after basketball, to continue to inspire those people, to continue to be that. And that's going to be on you. The only person that can make that decision is you. The only person. And it means something that you could come from there and do that and it don't have to get you down. It means something. And I don't know if you know how much it means.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But it does. They see you and it means something. So the responsibility, and you done a good job. Like your mama might not be off that narcotic if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for the stability that you could provide her. And I know that you've been too loose with giving away money and taking care of people. I know this. I know all of this. What I'm telling you is whether we go inside for a little while or whether it works out and we don't, your life matters to the people where you're from and people everywhere. And we need to see you do good, bruh. We need to see you do good. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I know that you're a good person. You got a good heart. All of that. We need to see you do good, man. All right? Appreciate you coming by, brother.
Thanks for having me, cuz.
Yeah.